Okay, awesome. So, like I said, this is a three-part series, and Megan, you're jumping in on the third day. You're getting the one day that honestly, to me, is the most valuable. There's the most here. Same with Ed. I'm happy you've been able to kind of join us along this journey.
Mhm.
So, like I said, this is day three, and in today's session, we're going to be identifying and building out automation. So, automations, we're going to break down what that means and all that fun stuff here in a little bit, but it's exciting. So for a quick overview, we've done a little bit of welcome and warm up. We got that out of the way. We're gonna understand what an automation is. Then we're gonna identify areas for automation and how you guys can do that within your own business. We're then gonna be moving into a couple examples that we'll demonstrate in real time. They're very simple, but they get the point across. Then we're going to get into the end where we're going to have a bit of a build session. We're going to walk you through the platform that we're going to touch on, things of that nature. But then at the end, we'll hopefully should have a little bit of time extra for everyone, for both of you guys to try out building these things yourself. So should be a great session. If at any point either of you have any questions or something doesn't make sense or anything like that, please stop us. Like I said, small crowd today, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. So if there's anything that like catches your ear, you're like, that doesn't make sense, we'll stop and we'll, figure that out together.
Yeah, and it'll help
But
whoever's watching the recording as well. Mhm.
exactly. So last week we covered a couple different things. The first one being things to keep in mind when using AI. It was big on brand awareness, recognizing, all right, who is my audience? Who am I, catering to? In our last session, we had Brian, who's worked in construction, and when it came to like creating AI art and things of that nature and using AI a lot, like 50-year-old rough gruff guys don't really care. Whereas we had Heidi, who was in an industry where there might be some younger individuals who would care more about the use of AI art and things of that nature. Like for example, like Ed, for your brand awareness, it's good to just keep in mind when using these tools. All right, when does it make sense to, when does it not? And you don't want to overuse AI. You want to make sure that you're keeping that balance there, basically. Ben, do you have anything to
Yeah.
add there?
Just add, just for extra uh fuel to the flame, I suppose. There's a certain demographic of people I that are totally against AI art. So just keep that in mind. If you do have
Yep.
typically it's younger people, typically it's more artsy people. So if you have a large demographic of those people that you work with, they're probably going to be a little bit more there's going to be more pushback to say for you, Megan, if you were use AI art on your sauce bottles, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Then if you had a very young audience, they might go, "Oh, what is this AI? I'm not going to use this," and then they would avoid that. Whereas, say, not that demographic, probably wouldn't really care. It's art. It looks cool. It's awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hmm. Ed or Megan, do you guys have any questions about that point before we continue on?
Nope.
Makes sense. Okay, perfect. So the next thing we covered, which was pretty powerful when it came to ChatGPT, we covered GPTs, which basically the idea with a GPT is it's a custom ChatGPT, and it's great for things like individual use cases. I'm using ChatGPT just for making like a sales assistant, or I'm making a marketing assistant, for example, or image creation. You can get it exactly how you want it with custom instructions, and it's good to go from there. Another big thing we covered was projects. Basically, what this was is a variation of kind of like a folder where you can hold all of your chats. So it's great for keeping everything succinct, good to go there. And then lastly, it was the custom instructions. Now, Ed, I know in the first session we covered it just a little bit at the end right there, where you can customize your chat GPT to know a little bit more about you and, have some more knowledge about who you are as a person, how you like these things. Did you have a chance to look into that yet, or is that something not yet? Okay.
Not yet. No.
Okay, for sure. That's something I would recommend if you wanted to, maybe at the end of the session, if we have some extra time, we could go back over that. It's pretty simple, but it's very valuable, especially when you're using these tools and you have a certain way you like to sound things. From there, last couple of things we did is we covered a couple new tools. There was Notion, Perplexity, Otter AI, Adio, and Suno. All great tools, all things I would recommend. Uh, for you guys, I would think Notion could potentially be beneficial for keeping things succinct. It's great for organization skills. Definitely check out the second video. We cover these a little bit more in depth. Perplexity is great for research as well. Like Megan, if you're wanting to research, all right, well, which designs or where can we go into a new market, things of that nature. Perplexity was a great tool for that. And besides that, Ed, I know you obviously have a ton of conversations with a ton of different clients. Otter AI would be something great for transcription and things of that nature. So tons of great
Okay.
tools there, tons of things I'd look into. Like I said, I'd watch that second video, or at least cut to the end half when we were touching on these tools to get a better idea of that. And then lastly, we covered a bit about how to vet new AI tools. Now, this was a lot about ensuring fit into your workflows and ensuring that it makes sense and it's going to genuinely give you some value back. That was a big focus of what we were looking at there. And also making sure it's safe, especially if you guys deal with any sort of client information. You want to make sure that you're using tools that are going to benefit, everyone. So with all that being in mind, anything else before we get into our core outcomes and get a move on here?
Not at all. You covered it very well, sir.
Awesome. Megan, is it all making sense? I know that was last week's session, but just want to make sure you're all good so far.
I'm all good, and I'll get online and zip to the new tools to check out.
Awesome. Sounds good. Perfect. All right. And if you have any questions on those, I can put my email in there or whatever. If you have any questions, you can just email me or anything like that.
Perfect.
Yeah, for sure. So the core outcomes that we're going to cover today. First, we're going to understand what an AI automation is and how it works, and learn the how to find the areas that automation can benefit from. We're then going to build out an automation first with ChatGPT, and then learn how to build one through Zapier. And then, if we have enough time at the end, but this is a real important one that I wanted to make sure we try to get to, is where I want to set up realistic goals with you guys for AI adoption. I know both of you use AI to some extent. Megan, you with images, Ed, you with using ChatGPT for descriptions, things of that nature. But I want to
Hmm.
set up a little like 90-day goals basically, where you guys are gonna be like, all right, cool. After 30, after 60, after 90 days, where should I be at with these tools? Should be a fun time. Megan, since you haven't used ChatGPT before, this is also gonna be something that we're gonna cover to show you a little bit of, because like you said, you've never used ChatGPT before. Why do I want to use AI? Well, let me see that question again. Yeah, why would you want to use ChatGPT? So there are, just to cover it for you, there are a ton of different uses for this. We will demonstrate something really quickly to you, like once our first little project that we're gonna do, we'll demonstrate it to you. But if you've never used the tool before, it can do it's hard to even explain it to you. There's so much that it can do for you. For you, it could be that it's coming up with new marketing ideas for how you should market your company. For you, it can teach you how to benefit your website, get more SEO on your website. There are a ton of different things that could benefit directly to you. It can even, this is kind of funny, it could even create a website if you wanted it to. There's other AI tools that are better at it, but this, like ChatGPT, is a very much so a general use tool, and it has a ton of different capabilities. Basically,
So it's not just something I chat with other people on.
it's
Hmm.
not. It's something that you're chatting with an AI, basically, is what you're chatting with.
Huh?
But it is
Okay.
like a chat. That's good that you're thinking of it like a chat, because that's one of the biggest things is thinking of it like you're talking to another human, talking like another human, but like a really smart person, somebody that needs a little bit of context when you're explaining stuff. Um, But yes, we're going to show you a little bit later of a little bit of that. And also, another thing I'd recommend is the first video that or the session that we did, that we explain a bit more about ChatGPT and some of the basics of that stuff without
Okay.
going too much in depth with it. So with that being said, because we're going to go a little bit slower with this because I want to make sure, Megan, that you're doing all right here with this. Um, so that being said, we're gonna kind of break down a little bit of kind of exactly what you said of like, why would I want to use AI, or and even further than that, why would I want to use automations? So with this, I want you guys to recognize that both of you, from hearing your stories and knowing your business, both of you can directly benefit from AI, very much so, and you can directly, or I guess technically indirectly benefit from automations. Now, today's session is primarily about automations, but as you'll see in a little bit, we're able to combine the two to get even more value from them. So first, after all we've said, what is an automation? Basically, an automation is like a domino effect. It's a predefined sequence of actions that runs automatically when triggered. So when the first domino hits, you're then going to have everything after occur. So that's the idea behind kind of what an automation is. An example of this, and both of you have definitely filled out forms on the internet. That's the idea. If you think of submitting a form and then you automatically get an email, that is a very simple automation.
Yeah, very
So
common automation as well.
exactly, yeah, something that you guys have definitely had happen before. So how is this different from AI? Well, to make it super simple, the automations follow super fixed rules, kind of like I said, like a domino effect. It's falling in, it's good to go. Whereas the AI more so thinks and it can adapt based on the context of the situation. So that is why they're very powerful together, but I'll get to that in a second. So AI is good for things like kind of like Megan, this is good for you, writing content in your tone. So if you're doing marketing like social media posts, it's just absolutely amazing for those type of things. Summarizing and analyzing information. So for either of you, it could be, identifying, all right, what are the trends that I'm noticing in my industry? It could be answering questions and generating ideas. That's one that I love. I love brainstorming with the tools. And then lastly, determining intent. So if it's something like, all right, I got this message from somebody and I have genuinely no clue, like, like people can't understand context between you when you're texting back and forth. That happens all the time. That's something you can be like, hey, make sense of this for me. And
Hmm.
then next, when it comes to automation, automation's good for things like sending content to the exact right person, moving data between tools. That's a really big one, I would think, for both of you, especially Ed, you. If you had just had a conversation with a client and you're like, all right, I have to take all these manual notes, that's where it could be that it takes information from that transcription tool that I mentioned, Otter AI, to your CRM or wherever you hold all your information. So something like that can just make your life easier, is the idea here. And then we can also do things like sorting and things of that nature. So I also want to emphasize to you guys that what you see on the screen right here is the bare bones basic, what you can do with these tools. That's something that we like to get to the point across to you guys that this is some of the stuff that it's great for, and it's really good at this stuff. But what you can do past this is kind of like the sky's the limit, is the idea here. There really is so much more that you can do with this. It's just how much time you want to spend setting these things up. So to put that all in perspective, AI is great for anything that's really dynamic, really that kind of is not going to be just one set in stone thing. Whereas automations are great at that set in stone thing. That's great at that. Hey, I do this thing this way every single time. And then from there, you can set it up so that it does it that way every single time. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
with that being said, Megan and Ed, does that make sense in terms of what an automation is, how it works, all that fun stuff so far at least?
Yes,
Yeah.
like in Shopify, I've set up several automation tasks
Mhm. Yeah.
for if somebody places an order or if they leave without making a sale, there's certain automations that the program does. It's not AI.
Hmm.
Exactly. Yes, it's an automation. It's not AI. Yep. That's awesome. So that's great that you have some experience with this. That's really awesome. So when we get into the future section, when we're looking at the platform that we're going to be touching on, a lot of this will make sense to you, which will be perfect. Now, Ed, I didn't even ask. Do you have any experience with anything automation related?
Not so much. Not really. No.
That's all right. That's
Yeah.
perfect. That's what we're here for.
Mhm.
Perfect. So, well, what if we could combine them together? That's the idea here. Well, you can, and that's where the genuine real power is, because what happens is you have the automation that's able to handle the when and the how, while the AI is able to handle the what and the why. So the idea here is it creates a system that runs tasks automatically, and then along the way, if there's anything that requires any more thinking than just the dominoes falling, that's where the AI can step in and help with that. So the idea here, AI is the brain with automation being the body, but both are controlled by something called triggers, which we will get into in a little bit. The trigger is the domino effect that starts, but we'll talk then a little bit. So what I want you guys to do, Ed, right now, if you could pull up ChatGPT. Megan, this is going to be your first time pulling up ChatGPT. So what I want you to do is just type in chatgpt.com and it should pop up for you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up ChatGPT so you guys can see my screen. Um, Let me make sure. Can you guys see Ben, can you see my screen right now or no?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. You can see ChatGPT, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Megan, I'll give you a minute or two just to get in there because it's going to ask for an email, things of that nature. Um, and we'll get you logged in, and then from there we'll take a minute for you to just kind of digest it. I'll touch on a couple things for you just because you're new to it. And then we'll walk through the example that I'm gonna show you guys. Ed, do you have a premium account or do you have the free account?
Free.
You have the free
All
account,
right.
okay.
So then it might just end up being us showing you the
Yes, how to do it.
basics of
Yeah.
them, yeah,
Mhm.
automations
So
through
Ed and
ChatGPT.
Megan, what we're gonna show you is I'm fairly certain it's a premium feature, just so you guys know. But I want to show
It
it to you in real time of how to do it, just so you have an idea. Because likely very soon you'll be like, all right, I'm gonna bite the bullet and I'll pay the $20 a month. You know what I mean? And when that occurs, I want you to recognize how to do this because it's very powerful and it's a great first step into automations. Now, Megan, you already have some experience with this. Ed, this is a great first start for you. So open up ChatGPT, and then when you have it open, I would just come back and watch my shared screen so I can show you what we're looking at here.
Okay. I'm open.
Ed, is that your family in the back I see there?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Is that a picture from Michigan or is that on vacation?
No, that's Michigan.
Oh, nice. Okay.
good deal. I'm excited to get into the automation side of things with you guys. With the this small audience size, it's very easy to get through your guys' workflows and your stacks. So finding those little nitty gritty time savers, one of my favorite things to do. Looking forward to it.
Okay, I'm in Chat GPT.
You're in ChatGPT. Awesome. Do you see a screen similar-ish to mine? If you were to click over back to the thing, you see, okay, awesome.
Yes, I do.
So, yep. So Megan, just for you, just to give you a little bit of ideas, right here where you see this ask anything, that's where you type to it. It's pretty straightforward. If you wanted to, you could ask it a question, just play around with it. You just say, what's the meaning of life? Or maybe you want to ask it about your business. Maybe it'll know something about it. Just to get your hands on the tool for a second, just to play around with it. Just type something in. Besides that, on the screen, what you can see is on the left-hand side, you're going to see a little sidebar. And for you, just so you know, whenever you start a chat, it'll like have like a little new archive on the side. So, and then what I'd recommend is anytime you're going to go have a conversation about something completely new, like let's say you're talking about, what's the market cap for my brand, and then the next time you're like, I want to talk about puppies and kittens, you would start a new chat just because it makes everything clear, concise, and makes everybody's lives easier. Are you typing away over there?
Um, s- so yeah, so I typed in what is Old Dog Sauce and Spice website, and it found our website and talked to me about basically our website and all that. So kind of impressed.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's a great first step. It's a great first step. So there's
Yeah,
a ton of different stuff here that you can do with it, Megan. I would wholeheartedly recommend you check out the first session and you just play around with it. That's the big thing is I want you to recognize like it can be interesting and fun to just play around with, see what it can be capable of. We're gonna actually walk through one of those capabilities right now just to show you guys the kind of the power of this tool. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting up a reoccurring task. So the idea here is it's a basic automation that allows ChatGPT to basically at a certain time, at a certain day, do this task, whenever you want it to. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to quickly type it in. So we're going to say create a reoccurring task that informs me about AI insights for my industry. Let's just do training and consulting every week on Friday. So I'm going to be able to type something in like this. And then from here, what it's going to be able to do, I'll click enter. It's going to be able to It's going to think for a little bit. It'll take a little bit of time. It's going to create this reoccurring task for me so that every single week on that Friday, which it'll take a second, my Wi-Fi is a little slow by me. Every single week on Friday, it's going to take that information and find it for me. So it's pretty cool, pretty powerful. We'll see. I don't know why my Wi-Fi is taking a little bit. We'll give it a second here.
Yeah, if you need Hank, I can
There
take
we
over the
go. That's
share.
okay.
There we go.
But this is really powerful. Like what I would recommend for both of you, because you're getting new into this space, once you were to look to get this premium feature or pay the 20 bucks a month, basically, is I would set this up right away. So the idea
Mhm.
here is you could set it up replacing your own saying, hey, create a reoccurring task that informs me about AI insights for real estate, for example, and just give it to me on a weekly basis. And you can
Yeah,
get
it's
it much more insights as well. Like you could say, I want to only know about maybe new tools that are being released, or maybe I only want to know about other certain things. So you can give it some more important tasks and different variations to it. Give it like a couple more
and
seconds. Like I said, Wi-Fi is a little slow, but
I would also like that, and the sky is really the limit. I mean, I'll take that back. The sky is as big as your prompt and as in depth as your prompt is. So
Mhm.
the more details you give it, say you want it to just give you the highlights of the less popular news, maybe you're trying to get like an undercut of what's happening in your industry, then you would instruct it to do that, and now you can get those insights rather than just the headlines that you've probably already seen.
Exactly. Awesome. So now what I want to do is I want to be able to edit this because it's all right. But it's at 9 a.m. and I'm a more of a morning person. So I'm gonna simply just click these little three buttons right here, and I'm gonna click edit. I can also pause and I can also delete this. So I'm gonna click edit, and then from here I could change the name. But let's check the instructions right here. Hey Chad, how's it going?
Welcome, welcome, Chad.
Awesome. So give Chad a second here. Let him make sure he's catching his bearings, and we'll keep going. So the instructions here, I want to change them. I'm all good, okay from it. It says search for the most important AI insights for the training consulting industry from the past week and summarize them with brief takeaways and links. That's pretty solid. But I also want this give it to me in a newsletter format and ensure you don't give me any fluff. Awesome. How you doing today, Chad? Doing good? Oh, yep. I can't hear you, Chad, but I can see your face and I see your lips moving.
Hopefully my computer will work right here.
I
Oh,
can
there we
hear you
go.
now.
There we go.
Perfect.
How you doing today, Chad?
Fantastic. Thank you. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. Have you had a chance, Chad, to watch either of the past two videos to any extent, just so I know?
I just bits and pieces. To be
Just bits
honest
and
with
pieces.
you,
That's all right. All right. Now, what's your experience with AI, just so we have a good little knowledge base here?
basically I've worked with Chat GPT so far. Just beginning there. I've taken a course into Chat GPT pretty deeply, and so that's about my extent of it right now. So my wife and I are looking at starting a business, and so we're trying to incorporate Chat GPT or AI in with that as well.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
We're doing good. Well, she's an expert, so we don't gotta, awesome. Well,
I
great
just
to
wanted
have you
you to know
guys.
I was here too.
That's all right. No worries at all. That's perfect. Well, like I said, you don't need to be here. You know everything. Um, so perfect. So Chad, what we're doing right now is we're setting up a reoccurring task to have it occur once a week. We're starting to get into automations. That's the idea for today's lesson, is we're moving past ChatGPT, we're moving past some of the other tools that are potentially out there, and getting into being able to automate some of our tasks on a daily basis. So pretty cool
Okay.
stuff. We're just getting into it, so you haven't missed too much. Basically the idea, think of automations like a domino effect. Basically, it's like boom, like once something occurs, then the action happens. So
Sure.
right now, what we're doing is I am changing up a basic automation that ChatGPT can do, which is called a reoccurring task. And all I did was simply ask it for, I said, hey, can you create a reoccurring task that informs me about AI insights for my industry, which is training and consulting, every week on Friday? Then after that, it created it for me. Then I'm able to edit it. I can pause it or I can delete it, but I clicked edit, and then I'm able to change up some of the instructions. I just add it and give it to me in a newsletter format. So very powerful little thing that you can do. It's great for updating you on news and insights and things of that nature. So wanted to show you guys that. Also, do you guys have the pro subscription?
We
Or are you on
do.
the free? You do? Okay. So this is something you guys can do. This is something you guys could do today if you've never used this before.
Okay.
Great little feature. I have tons of them. I have tons of little automation set up. So for sure would recommend checking that out for you guys. Megan here is new, so she's learning some of this as we go on. Ed
Mhm.
doesn't have a pro subscription, but he's good at ChatGPT, so we're all learning together here today. Awesome. So Megan, has this made a good little bit of sense so far? I know you've only been playing with ChatGPT just literally for the past 10 minutes, but
Yeah, I'm getting it.
okay, perfect. Awesome. Ed, does it make sense how the reoccurring tasks work? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so now that we've shown you a good little bit about this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop back over in here. Let's get back into this. Presenter view, enter full screen. What I want to do now is I want to take a second to get into uh, some other tools. The other tool that we're going to be touching on today is called Zapier. Now, I don't know if any of you have heard of this tool before. It's been around for a little while. I'm going to break down a bit about how it works, just so you guys have an idea. Then Ben's going to walk through some of the vocabulary, that how to make sense of it. And then from there, we're going to show you some examples and all that fun stuff. So if at any point it doesn't make sense or anything like that, let me know. It's going to be a little complicated. We should make pretty good sense of it. But like I said, there can be a little bit of a skill. It can get quick, be complex quick, basically. Can everybody see my screen, by the way? You see Zapier? How does it work?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what Zapier is, to break it down to an easy level to understand, is it's basically the glue between tons and tons of different tools. So if you on a daily basis are using 5 or 6 different tools and having to move stuff in between them, or you're just like sick of anything manual that you have to do, that's where a tool like Zapier comes into play. Megan has some experience with this, which is awesome. She has some stuff that automates like sending messages to people saying, "Hey, you didn't, finish your card," things of that nature. So that's a variation of an automation. That's something like Zapier could do. And the nice thing about Zapier for all of you guys is that it is fairly simple to use. There's no coding or not much tech experience required. Uh, it can help for sure, but none of you guys need this to be able to do this. And it's able to create automated workflows with these. So the really cool thing about these tools, about this tool specifically, is it bridges the gaps between the tools that you already use, making it so that information transfers flawlessly, and it just makes your life easier. That's the idea. Like I was talking to Ed earlier about how it could help him, and I'm really excited to have Ed start using Zapier a ton more.
Mhm.
Yeah, basically it eliminates a lot of the manual workload that you have to do on a daily basis. So very, very cool platform. And the reason that Zapier is so powerful is it started off as just an automation platform, but now it's an AI and automation platform. So it's a combination of both of them. Now, I didn't get a chance for Chad to explain this to you guys, but basically the reason that these automations so powerful now is because you can bake AI into it. So this domino effect now has a brain. It has a brain that's able to look over and identify, all right, well, the human doesn't need to be a part of this. You know, the AI can step in when needed, help with this thing, and then send the dominoes along their way. So
Wow.
that's kind of the idea here. Yes, very, very powerful.
Wow.
Um, yeah, we're moving towards something that Ben may coin at some point today. It's called an AI agent. Very interesting. It's basically like the automations and the AI combined together, but even more powerful.
Mhm.
So that's the next step. Once you guys get comfortable with ChatGPT and then comfortable with Zapier, then you move into that next step. So
Yeah.
without without further ado, let's get into an example we have here. Now, Ben is going to, and I'll explain this to him. Ben is going to send me an email right now.
Yeah.
The
Or
idea behind this is, with this example here, is that Ben is a client of mine, and I suck at checking my emails. So when it comes to that, I want to make sure that anytime Ben sends me an email, I get it in my Slack, which is my main form of communication with my clients. So what happens then is that anytime Ben sends me this email, I'm automatically going to get a summary sent right to my email or my Slack with all the information about like what Ben said and all that fun stuff. So it's a very basic automation, but it could be beneficial for like let's say Ed, like let's say you and oh, let me specify this. Just because you see Gmail and just because you see Slack right here does not mean you guys have to use these tools. It could be that you're an Outlook user. It could be that you don't even use Gmail. You want this to be text. You could have it be text as well. It could be that Ed gets sent a text message. He's like, all right, well, cool. I maybe I didn't see it in time. Then it gets sent to his Slack where he's going to notify. Or it could be you get the email and then it sends to your text saying, hey, here's this email that you just missed. So let me pop over real quick and check my DMs. And all right, they're perfect. As you can see, you have a new email from one of your potential leads, Benjamin Tarzwell. Here's what the email reads. I was curious if you want to get into a call with me later today. Perfect. And it was quick and easy to set up. It was a two-step automation. We're going to cover a three-step next just for you guys. But it was super easy to set up. It took me and Ben 5 to 10 minutes to get this thing up and running. And from there, now anytime I have an important email that's coming through, I'm automatically getting notified about it. I don't have to worry about that. Let me head back over in here. Now I know we just covered the first one. Does anyone have any questions? And is that making sense? Does that idea of what's happening make sense to you guys? Awesome.
Mhm.
Yep.
Perfect. Megan, that's all good to go. I know you have some experience here.
Yeah, but I'm like one of those persons that want to read all my emails.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. So that's just one example. This is just one example of what we can do with it. The idea, kind of like what Ben mentioned, the sky really is the limit here. So we're gonna show you the next one, and then after that, we have a little activity that's gonna be great for you guys that we're gonna have you guys start to identify where this could potentially benefit you guys. So that being said, let's head into our second example. Now, the idea behind this one is kind of similar to like a Google form. So the idea here is I have a Google form for leads. So anytime a new lead submits their information on this form, now what happens is Zapier takes the information, it gives it to its AI, and then the AI gives me a summary of, all right, is this person a good fit for your company? It does a score. It does a score analysis for me. So, for example, I know I keep going back to Ed, but it just makes the most sense for Ed in this situation. Ed, it could be that you have, people looking to vet for a house, and you're like, all right, well, they have to submit this form for me to identify more information about them, to know more about what perfect fits would make sense. And then from there, the AI analyzes it and sends it right to you. So let me go back right now to my Slack. I just heard that information. I have a new form submission by Ben, and it gives me a quick explanation. So lead score 65, not too bad. Ben is a business owner in the construction industry, which is increasingly adopting AI. And then it gives me a little bit of our, what's the budget range? How can we help? And then it even gave me a little bit of a follow-up strategy. So this was the idea here is we tied in AI's or Zapier's AI feature, which is very similar to like a ChatGPT to be able to grab that information, turn it into a new summary, and then send it my way. So very, very powerful tool here. Let me just double check where we're at right now. Perfect. Awesome. Let me hop back in here. Okay, perfect. So that was just two quick and easy examples because we want to make sure that we give you guys enough time to really do this yourselves and play around with this. Um, from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand things over to Ben, and he's going to walk through a bit more about how the platform works and some of the the ideas to get across to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, I can speak. I know I'm just hanging out here, but I do walk and talk, and I'm a real boy. So, I'm going to dive in and just kind of touch on the general information and pieces of Zapier because there are a lot of moving parts when you start connecting all of your different softwares together. So, for your example, for you, Megan, you both have it's called Printify store and a Shopify store. So those are two totally different softwares. They probably don't play very well together, but they have all these different things that they can do. And if you tie them together with Zapier, things can tend to get a little bit complicated. So let's break things down to the fundamentals. Like Hank had said, Zapier really, in the grand scheme of it, just deals in information transfer. I like to think of it as the chutes and ladders between the levels. So what does that mean? Well, in information, there is power. So I'm going to touch on just, again, the fundamentals, the vocab. This very start thing, yeah, woo, right? So Zapier is an automation platform. There are really two main components of it. Then they like to use their terminology. So their automations are zaps. The idea is that they're quick, they are zippy, they're zappy.
Zap
But again, there's
information
just
from one thing to another.
yeah. And there are two main components, both a trigger event and an action event. So like Hank had said, if we're thinking about dominoes, the trigger event is that very first domino that starts to fall. And then however many dominoes we have set up, those are our action events. So maybe we just set up 2 dominoes like we showed you at the first example, 3. There, you could go as crazy as you want. Maybe you have 14 different dominoes set up. But that is where I'll touch on why you may not want to do that in a bit. So let's start here. Let's start with the trigger event. So they start the zaps. They are the cause to the effect. And there's only one thing. There's only one trigger event, but they come in a couple of forms. So the very first is a pulling trigger, which means a trigger that occurs on a schedule. An example being, we'll show you is the Gmail. Most Gmail things are all polling triggers because we don't know if we're going to get one email every 15 minutes or maybe it's 50 emails in 15 minutes. So easier to have that on a polling trigger, where other things like the form submission we saw earlier is an instant trigger. So that would be something that happens immediately after that happens, like the form submission, email.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had mentioned, that trigger is the start to all of your zaps, and you can only have one trigger. And triggers are always different than the actions of the zaps. Take a moment to breathe. This is a reminder for myself, but we could all probably use a deep breath. Now, let's touch on our action events. So if the trigger is the very first domino, what are the other dominoes? Well, they are any actions that can be performed by any app or tool that you've selected through the platform on Zapier. We recommend that you start and limit your zaps to 2 to 3 steps. And actually with a free account on Zapier, you're given about 750 tokens, and you're limited to, for free, the use of one trigger, one action. But there's still a lot that you guys can do, such as the VIP email system that we had showed you earlier. But there's also a reason you want to limit your zaps to 2 to 3 steps, even if you have a pro subscription. And that is because, again, it is a token platform. So if you have one action or one zap that is 8 or so steps, then every time that runs, it'll use 8 tokens. And if that is something such as that form, maybe it takes that information from the form, it drops it into your CRM, it drops it into an email, it waits for you to respond, you respond, it updates it, and then it sends it. Then every time that occurs, you're spending 10 tokens. Now you can only send 75 emails per month through that. But that was a lot. For the very key points, what we want to focus on are that triggers start zaps. It's when X happens, such and such happens. Action events are what you want to happen when X happens. We are understanding this. And lastly, try to keep it to 2 to 3 events per zap. And don't have a slide for this, but I would like to add just a couple of pointers or tips, is that these zaps and tools are not all created the same. So whenever a developer partners with Zapier and adds their app to the platform, right? It bolsters their company. Hey, we're a part of Zapier now. People are encouraged to use us because we benefit their pipeline. But 2, it also means that they have to manually create these integrations for the service. So if, say, you have a company with about 5 to 10 people, they're trying to work with Zapier, chances are they're only going to use or only going to spend the time to create the 1 or 2 actions, maybe 1 or 2 triggers for their tool. Whereas you have a company like Google who has practically infinite resources, they're a lot more likely to flesh out their integration. So that's why you'll see things like Outlook, things like Gmail, just for examples. It's not limited to email, but their whole suite of tools practically have limitless ways that you can get about and use them. But
Yeah.
that is all to say, this next section is where we're going to actually start to put our minds into the idea of how can we as business owners or potential business owners take advantage of these automations. So this is where we're are going to get into how to identify automation opportunities. And Hank, if you want to take this away, or I can keep on running.
Yeah, no, I'll take it over. I did want to touch on one other thing for you guys. Ed, I see you scratching your head a little bit. Is it all making sense to you? You all good there? Okay, perfect. So another thing I wanted to touch with you guys, besides the triggers and actions that all make sense, is these tools work, within your own tech stack, within the tools that you guys use on a daily basis. And that's what I would recommend for you guys is to try to stick with using the tools within your own tech stack. Because one thing that we'll see later, some of these tools that work with hide their capability to partner with Zapier through some sort of paywall. So keep that in mind. That's why we recommend staying within your own tools that you already use, because you just don't want to have to spend more and more money. You know what I mean? So just wanted to notify that to you guys. But from there, what we're gonna do now.
So I'm gonna take over while it seems like Hank's internet is giving us a little bit of trouble. So very first step that we're going to do is actually map our processes. So what are our processes? These are what we do every day
I'm
in our
back.
daily. Oh,
Sorry
hey
about
there,
that.
Hank.
Yep.
Oh,
I was just sorry about that. I was just saying, am I good? Can you hear me, Ben?
yeah. I started. I'm gonna finish up this step and then I'll let you take
Good.
over the rest. So these are your workflows and basically what you do in your day-to-day. So the very first step of identifying where automation can fit is to identify what your actual workflows and work processes are. And then from there, it's a lot easier to identify where we can cut out little bits of time or maybe little tedious activities that we do within them. So, Hank, if you have an idea or a direction you are steering, the map.
Yeah, no, exactly. So like I said, we're gonna take a couple minutes. Megan, Ed, and Chad, just take a couple minutes to either write it down, type it onto your, maybe on a notes app or anything like that. just to kind of detail what your day-to-day currently looks like. What do you do? What tools do you currently use? What are like for Ed, do you Ed, I don't know if you have a CRM or something similar where you hold all your information, or maybe you're a Google Sheets guy, anything like that. Just write it all down and how your processes look. And keep in mind, because this is part of step two, but it also helps for you guys, try to look for the three R's as you're going through this. Things that are repetitive, things that are rule based, meaning it's kind of like, all right, I do it this way every single time. There's nothing that's changing about it. And then lastly, anything that could potentially require movement, where you're like, all right, I have to manually move this from one thing to another, things of that nature. So we're gonna give you guys a couple minutes. When you're ready, just give me like a little thumbs up or whatever, and then we'll discuss it a little bit as well.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna start brainstorming potential areas for automation for you guys, at least from what I understand your guys' businesses might look like. For you, Megan, I'm sure you get potential inquiries through your website saying, "Hey, how do I do this? How do I know that this sauce is going to be, say, it's gluten free or other things of that nature?" An automation could look like maybe a form for questions, right? And tied to an AI that is filled with your knowledge base or basically all of the information about all of your stuff so that it can answer those autonomously rather than you having to go through and individually email each person. If it gets to the point where it's, oh man, all I do is send emails just to free up that time once more. For you, Ed, it might look like potentially it could be a couple of different things. I could see it being a scheduled event that maybe it scrapes the top 20 new potential properties based on a few different specifications you give it that would be of interest to you to either try to swoop in and help people sell. Maybe they're independently selling, or maybe it's properties yourself you'd be interested. I assume, do you personally invest into properties as well?
No, I don't do any
Okay,
buying.
gotcha.
Just helping clients purchase and sell.
Okay, understood. Then that could be that. So Hank and I have played around with this, kind of like cloning yourself, right? Trying to just write down all the information that you yourself have. Maybe it's like an autobiography esque, right? And then cloning yourself, having a digital you that is there to answer questions, maybe 24/7 for these homeowners. And if it is something that chatbot can't answer, it could have a fallback where it would direct it to you. But for simple questions, could be a pretty cool and handy tool just so you can focus on the actual questions that matter.
All right,
As for
let's give them a second. Let's give them a second. Just make sure that they're all good. Megan, have you
yeah,
taken a chance? Are you writing down some stuff? You're gonna getting out some workflows and stuff like that?
I mean, we're fairly new on the online store stuff, but I get a lot and they're probably AI requests. So how do I sort out AI requests that I don't care about and responding to actual customers?
Okay, that's something that you could potentially there's filter options as well within Zapier where you could have it analyze it, identify, all right, does it make sense that this is this a real person? Does this make sense? And it can analyze the sentiment, things of that nature. There's for sure an option through Zapier. Um, it would be something that might take a little bit of effort to figure out how to get it exactly, but I think especially in your case, it'd make a lot of sense to do that. And
yeah,
we can
and
we can explore that as well if that's something you're interested in looking more into.
yeah, and are these just like straight emails that you're getting, Megan, just directly to your inbox, or is it through your website?
They come to um they come to my inbox, but it's a result of our website, of
Okay.
our online store. So I get
Hmm.
a ridiculous amount of them.
Hmm.
Yeah. Do you have a like a reCAPTCHA or basically just like a verification, like a human verification, so to speak, through the website for the like access of the email?
I'm the human verification.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
I would look into trying to get a reCAPTCHA V2 through your website, or at least to enter the form space that would include your contact detail. I'm sure that would help cut down a lot of that.
What did you call that?
Yeah, I'll drop it into the chat. Recaptcha V2. V2 is I think there's a V3 as well as a V4, but V2 does enough to at least deter most of the just basic bots that roam the internet.
With that being said, Ed, did you write down your basic workflows and what do they look like currently?
Well, so we for our CRM we have what we call Bold Trail. So our CRM or Bold Trails our CRM, and it's also our website
Mm-hmm.
manager basically. So when somebody comes into our website and they want to do property searches, our CRM captures all their information
Okay.
before they can do any searching. So then that automatically comes in, and then kind of like what you were talking about with Zapier, it gives them a rating on how good they really are as a potential client, and
Mm-hmm.
then we can take it from there. As far as transactions, when we have a property listed or we have a buyer client that's going through the process, we have a program called Brokerment where all our transactions are managed. We've set up everything there that our transactions are tracked, and because everything in real estate's time sensitive, so you don't want to let anything fall through the cracks at that point because you can lose a
Mm-hmm.
deal pretty quickly. Emails are, they're just basic Gmail email that
Mm-hmm.
goes through what is it,
Workspace.
workspace, workstation,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So yeah, and then yeah, so that's really about what we have.
Okay, perfect. What about yourself, Chad?
Well,
I know
we
you
are
guys are
just
new.
getting started. I mean, we're
Yeah.
literally just working on a business plan right now. Looking at doing a game store
Mm-hmm.
where we would have sell board games and actually have events happen there at the store, different tournaments like say Euchre or Dungeons and Dragons and things like that. So we're trying to get AI incorporated somehow into this business. So we're just basically on the very ground level.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I think there's a Chad specifically. I think there's a ton of options, um, especially obviously helping you guys prepare. That's a lot of AI you can have it help with. But there are some automations on some side of like the back end that I think very much so could be beneficial to you guys once you were to start to, let's say you got the physical store and you're looking to, have some of those processes automated. I think there's some great opportunities there as well. Um, it could be an automation of reaching out to individuals in the neighborhood saying, "Hey, we have this event coming up. We'd love for you guys to attend," or reaching out to past people that have been attending, saying, "Hey, we got this coming up." There's little things like that that I think are great opportunities. Um, Ed, going back to you, I am curious. With all of those things in mind, with all the tools you're using, bold trails, things of that nature, is there anything that's as we're going about this where you're like, okay, well maybe it could be used for this, or maybe this would make sense to have it potentially reignite old leads, things of that nature. Has anything popped into your brain as of yet?
Well, I mean, using AI I mean, there's always potential for the use of AI, going after like old expired listings.
Hmm.
The foreclosure market, they're predicting that maybe to come back in the next few months. So you want to develop a plan and then, something that can keep you on track and things to get out to these people that hopefully will
Hmm.
lead them back to you so you're the one that they're coming to list their properties. So
Oh, for sure.
yeah, I mean, as far as stuff like, you know, social media is always huge too. So I
Oh yeah,
mean,
for sure.
using it to develop a video script, and
Mhm.
it's pretty cool how you put in develop a video script for whatever, and it tells you where to
Mhm.
put in graphics, and
Yeah,
pauses of music and all
I
sorts of,
like that. Yeah.
it's,
You know, it's
it's
funny,
unreal.
Ed, speaking on that, what you can do is, and just touching on this idea before we're gonna walk through Zapier here in a second, just so you guys have an idea. It's something that could be beneficial to you, especially on the social media side of things. You could have it be that, all right, there's a new something that you want to be talking about or touching on, and anytime you get a new inquiry that could potentially be a great social media idea, it could then send it through Zapier. Zapier could create the script, create the captions, and then send it to you and you're like, all right, cool, I got everything I need to go. Maybe it even generated some of the images for you, for example. Could be things of that nature. So there are a ton of options here. I want you guys to recognize that as we continue to move forward, that this tool, it's never a question of can it do it? It's a question of how can it do it? It for sure can do about almost anything you can think of, but it's how can you get the tool to do that? And that's where uh, building this foundation is great. And then from there, you look
Yeah.
to keep expanding upon it.
Yeah, and just to kind of compound on that idea, how can it do it? That might end up being that it offers a very similar but different tool that will do the thing that you're looking for it to do. If, say, your platform, for example, I've been looking into the tools that you've got on your side of things, Ed, via Zapier, and Bold Trail nor Brokermint are available via Zapier, but very similar platforms are, such as ActivePipe when compared to Bold Trail, as well as um, where's my thing? Brokermint versus Broker Engine. Broker Engine is available via Zapier, whereas Brokermint is not. I can't confirm any of the prices or anything. It's still very new, but similar tools. Some are on Zapier, some are not.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, with that being said, we did a little bit of a breakout session. We got some ideas starting to flow here. We're starting to get there. Um, with that being said, now what I want to do is I want to show you guys the Zapier platform as a whole. It's a little bit daunting, but that's what we're here for. We're gonna try to make this easier on you. Um, so what I want you guys all to do now is to take a couple seconds. It might take you a couple minutes to sign in. But I want you guys to head to Zapier.com. It's Z-A, I'll type it in the chat real quick. So I want you guys to head there and let me sign out just so we can see what you guys will be seeing. And you're going to be seeing this screen first when you're heading onto it. Just give me a thumbs up when you got it and you're ready to go. Chad, good to go. Awesome. Good to go, Ed. Megan, you about good to go? You got on the platform yet, or I think Megan's looking into something else right now. You good? Okay. Give me a couple seconds.
I'm signing in.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, yeah. So now, yeah, sign up right now, guys. What you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to click the sign up button in the top right. When you click sign up, the nice thing about Zapier is it offers a 2-week free trial for you guys to play around with the tools. I would use an email that you're gonna have easy access to, and then it will ask you a couple of questions, um, just about like, what are you gonna use the tool for, things of that nature. You can either skip it or you can log in if you want, or input stuff as well. And then with that being said, I am going to log. And then let me know when you guys see this screen. Just give me a thumbs up again. Megan's in. Awesome.
What's your role?
Okay.
Good to go. Perfect. Ed, you're good? Awesome. Okay. So as you guys can see, there's a lot going on the screen. There looks like there's a ton here. So I'm going to walk through every little bit here, and then we're going to walk through a quick little automation for you guys as well. So when you're first looking at the screen, you guys can see my screen, correct? Okay,
Yep.
perfect. So the first thing you're going to see right underneath this, what would you like to automate, is a co-pilot feature right here. Now, this is basically, in other words, it's exactly like a ChatGPT variation, is the idea here. So it's chat-based, you can converse with it. Now, the idea here, if I were to click on here, is this is where you can conversationally create these automations. Now, it's a very powerful tool. It's very awesome for getting a skeleton going. What I will say though is we are not going to be using this today. I'd recommend using it on your own time. The reason for that is I want you guys to have a foundation of knowing how to build this yourself before we go to do this, just in case you have any sort of issues. So right underneath this Copilot feature, we're going to see the start from scratch section. Now I'm going to walk through each of these and what they're able to do because Zapier as a platform is much more than just
Okay, on this.
a ton there. So the first thing we're seeing is the Zap. Now, like Ben mentioned, the Zap is the automated workflows that you're able to create. So these are the foundations of the tools or foundation of the tool and platform itself. And that's what we're going to be working on creating today. Next to that is the table. Now, the table basically is exactly what it sounds like. It's an area where you can hold information. It's like a Google Sheets or a Microsoft Excel. So this is where the Zapier can hold information for it to grab and pull into use into other automations. Then next to that, we have the interface. Now the interface is it's pretty cool platform. It's where you can create different apps. You can create also forms. If you use Google Forms, it could be something similar to that. You can also create web pages. So this would be great for anything simple that you're looking to have. Maybe somebody submit a form, grab it from there, and it's all within house. So it makes life a little bit easier instead of having to create a Google account or anything like that. And then next to that is a big one that is the chatbot feature. So this is exactly like ChatGPT, or very similar. But the cool thing is that you can attach automated workflows within it. So within that chatbot, I can say, "Hey, do this thing for me," or email this individual back, and it can then, activate the Zap to do that. So it's very powerful. And then lastly, something I think would be good for you, Chad, as well as Megan, for sure as Ed as well, is the Canvas feature. So the idea behind the Canvas feature is it is basically a big whiteboard where you and others can work on automations together. So Megan, it could be you and your husband are wanting to create an automation and you're on two different computers. It could be that you can open up the Canvas feature and then work on them together. Besides that, we also, like I said, same thing with you, Chad, same thing with you, Ed. If you and your partner are like, all right, I want to mess with this, they can do that here. I'm about to go. I'll be right back. I'm going to go mess with my dog. Ben, do you want to continue on explaining? You can explain the Discover section. I'm going to go put my dog up.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm taking it where Hank has left off. So those are the main primary tabs, and each of them have their own relevance. There's also not pictured here, but if we look on the left side, there's an agents tab, which is the thing that we had mentioned earlier. But if we go over to the Discover tab, and honestly, if we just scroll down a little bit, so actually the popular templates is similar to the Discover tab, but otherwise you'll find the stuff that you've worked on. The Discover tab itself, though, is where you can find really a start to any sort of automation that you could hope to take advantage of. So they have some pretty popular use cases here on the left, such as lead management, sales pipeline, the stuff that we had mentioned before, tickets and incidents, stuff of that nature. But there's also other things. The products are probably going to be very similar. Yeah, there's the things we had mentioned. But on this Discover tab, if you guys are on the Zapier website, this is where once you have looked through your workflows, once you've looked through the processes that you have in a day-to-day, if you find an area, man, I really do spend a lot of time just popping between my email as well as my CRM to just check out what the conversation has been. So I'm sending them relevant information. That's where you would find perhaps typing here, I want a CRM to email or email to CRM. Let's say that email to CRM. And this is where you can find template results for things like that. So streamlined email processing and CRM updates, other things like that.
Awesome.
Welcome back, Hank. How are the dogs?
They're good. They're good. I had to put them outside.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, Ben, that's all we really wanted to show them on this one is just the idea that there are templates on here. It just makes your life way easier. So much easier to approach, especially from a beginner standpoint, rather than having to try to make these from scratch every single time. So with all that being said, before we move into the automations themselves, is it making sense to everybody in terms of the opportunities here, in terms of the give it a second to load, in terms of like what's capable of this tool and what there's options are? That
Yeah.
makes sense. Chad, awesome. Megan, perfect. Okay. Okay. So now what we're gonna do for you guys, if you want to follow along, what we're gonna do is we're gonna head into the Zaps section. And then for you guys, you're going to see nothing here. But what we're going to do is we're going to go into one of our workshop builds and show you the breakdown of how to build a Zap. Just or not exactly how to build a Zap, like what parts are built into a Zap, just so you guys have an idea there. And then from there, with whatever time we have left, we'll make a judgment call of what you guys are wanting to get into. Okay. So what is everyone on the Zaps feature starting to open up your own Zap? Wait a second. Okay, so is everyone up on the click on the Zaps and you're all good to go, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Megan, how you doing over there? Awesome. Okay. So on our screen, what you guys can see are the trigger and the action event here. So just like the domino effect, we have anytime we get a new email, we then get the message sent directly to our Slack. So you guys are going to see nothing on your screen. You're going to have just a blank, like a trigger. So I'm going to walk through now what is involved in a trigger. So when
Yeah.
I click
And
on this, what's up, Ben?
just to kind of set the precedent. This is so we have an idea of what we're going to expect because it can be scary first opening up these tools because they'll blow up with a
Mhm.
bunch of different things that we have to consider look at, and it might freak us out. But
Yep. Click edit here real quick. Okay. So as I click on this tool, on the right-hand side, you're going to see a setup, a configure, and a test. So with each Zapier automation that you build out, you're going to need to go through a couple different steps to get the tool to run properly. So at first, the first thing you're going to see is the non-negotiables. You're going to see which app are you going to choose. So in our case, it's Gmail, but if I were to click on this, just to show you guys, there are a ton of different apps to choose from. It even says up at the top, 7,000 plus apps. So like, for example, if we were
mm,
to type in like real estate, we're going to see a ton of different apps. We got real estate webmasters right there. Not a great,
yeah,
not
look up
the
broker
real
engine.
info, realty.com, real estate web, we've got a ton of different options here. What'd you say, Ben?
Look up broker engine. That's the tool that I was dropping in the chat for Ed.
Yeah, we got broker engine, broker spot, survey book. You got a ton of different options here. So with that being said, this is where you choose your tool. You have an AI section as well. What I'd recommend is only sticking with the AI by Zapier. But like I said, this is where you choose your app. And then underneath that, this is something that Ben had touched on previously. With every single app, they only have a certain amount of triggers that they can do and a certain amount of actions that they can do. So for Gmail, you have, and for because it's Gmail, it's Google's email, you have a good amount of trigger events, things that are going to make it occur. So it could be something like, all right, when you receive a new attachment, or it could be obviously when you get a new email in this case. Um, what I would say is when you first get on here, um, there's going to look like there's a lot of different stuff to look at. Try to keep your mind a little bit narrow and be like, all right, I'm just trying to get a new email. That's all I'm trying to get. So in this case, when we click new email, we can see it's a polling trigger. So that just means it's only going to occur at a certain time. It's not like it's an instant. It happens after a couple minutes, let's say. Then under that, this is where I talk about working within your tech stack. We have the account. So this is where I connected my own account to this to be able to utilize it. Now keep in mind, this is something that was covered in a little bit in the first session. When you connect something to this tool, you are willingly saying, hey, like you're able to look at this stuff. So keep that in mind when you're using these tools. Megan, I know that was something you didn't get in the first section. So when it comes to these type of tools, when you go and click, hey, yes, good to go for using Gmail, that's also allowing them to, take that information. So just keep that in mind as you're using these tools. Um, ChatGPT is a little bit different. Megan, if we wanted to spend about 3 or 4 minutes afterwards, I can show you how to turn off data, like the data where it like gathers your data, basically. Something super simple, super easy, but it's good for you. It's pretty easy to do. Um, so besides that, once you've set up the app, you have your trigger event, and then you have your account. Is this making sense over here? You good to go? Thanks. Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay. So now that we have our app, our trigger event, and our account, our setup is complete. And now we're going to move to the configure tab. So on the configure tab is always going to be the most complicated on, and we'll get to this in a second, on the action events. The configure tab is also going to always be different depending on the tool and the trigger event. So for this trigger, all the tool needs is a label or a mailbox. So in this example, our mailbox or our label is the business/Zapier example. If I were to click this, you would see that it could be any sent email. It could be any email in my inbox, any email from important or in trash, for example. So this changes, like I said, the changes depending on what you're looking to do. And then lastly, we need to test this trigger. The idea here is it's basically just allowing Zapier to go to Gmail and say, hey, can I get this information? And then Gmail goes, awesome, yeah, you can have it. And then it comes back with a example record that it can use to continue testing out the rest of your workflow. So from here, when you guys are looking to build out your own, you would click one of these. It doesn't really matter. You would just click one of the ones that would work for you, and then you would click continue with selected record. And that ends our trigger extravaganza here. And we'll be moving into the action step. Now, does anyone have any questions about the setup, configure, or test for the trigger that we just did? Does that all make sense to you guys? Yeah, Ed, you're like, yeah, it's kind of makes sense. Do you have any questions about anything that we just covered or, anything kind of confusing at all? Okay. I will say I do have a another video that I'm going to send to you guys. Actually, I'll send it right now. Um, it's another video basically of exactly what we're talking about right now, but just a little bit more in depth. It's a YouTube video that we had created. So just keep that in mind that you have, resources if this is not really making too much sense at the time. And that's okay if it's not making the most sense. We're trying to get it going for you right now, but we have limited time. Just wanted to touch on
Or
that.
if you're trying to outsource it as well, we're free for conversation as well.
Exactly. So next to that, now we moved into the action step. So this is the thing that's going to occur. We had the Gmail getting sent, or the Gmail new email getting sent. That is the trigger. Now we're having the action. So same exact setup. It's going to be an app. Then we're going to have an event, and then we're going to have our account. So the difference here is the action event for something like Slack is going to be there's going to be a ton of options here. So most tools are going to have a few triggers and a ton of different actions because that's just most of the time you have more things that these tools are able to do than something that's going to cause these things to happen. So with that being said, the action event, if I were to click this right here, there's going to be a ton of different options. I mean, look at this. I could scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, and you're like, all right, well, I don't need to retrieve a thread message. I just need a direct message. So that's where you'd be looking through here. And you would try to identify, where is it at? It's down a little more. You would try to identify, send a direct message. And like I said, this is the tool that we use. We use Slack, but it could be that you guys are using text. And if you're using text, that just simplifies things even more because it would just send text right to your phone number. So keep that in mind that these tools, depending on the capabilities of them and how well or how big of a team they have depends on how many actions they would likely have as well. So Slack, because it's like a messaging thing, has 50, but it could be like we were talking about with Ed, like some of your real estate ones, maybe it only has 5 or 6 actions that it can take. But most likely that's due to a couple reasons. Of course, it could be a financial thing. It's like, all right, we can only afford to do this many things. Or it could be, hey, we only have 6 actions that you would be taking anyway. You know what I mean? So just keep those things in mind. Now, past that, uh, this is the tough tab that I want to show you guys. It's the most confusing one. It's because an action has more steps to it, is the configure tab. Now, the nice thing about this is as you're looking at this, it looks a little complicated. But really, all you need to mess with is anything that has a little red dot next to it. Anything else is just mumbo jumbo that you really don't need to look at. Sometimes it can be beneficial to you, but in this case, all we need to know is who is this message getting sent to? Well, it's going to get sent to me. So right here, we have different little channels to choose from, and I'm choosing the one that's myself. So that would be Hank Barker Business. Or I could have it choose so that anytime it sends to Ben. So anytime we get a new client, it gets sent right to Ben. It could do that as well. And from there, this is where most people get led astray when you're starting to use these tools, because it is the most complicated. But we're going to break it down for you. It should be pretty easy to approach right here. So this is where the message text would be sent, to me. So in our example, as you could see, it said, hey, here's a new email from one of your leads. I can actually just pull it back up. Here you have a new email from one of your potential leads. If I go back over here, here's your email from one of your leads. I changed it up a little bit in the last couple minutes, but you can see that that's where it's pulling from. But we also have this little box right here that's got a little Gmail, and this is from name Benjamin Tarzwell. So what this is it's information that was pulled from Gmail that now Zapier has access to be able to use in further um, parts of the workflow. So if
Yeah.
I were to go on here and I were to either press this little plus button right here, or I press this /, it then gives you all of the information that it pulled from the Gmail that you're able to use. So the nice thing is the from name is right off at the top. You have from name Benjamin Tarzwell. So if I were to click this, now it's good to go in there. It's a little like information box basically. But if I wanted to, do the body plane, you also have that. Here's what the email reads, body plane. Hey, just testing this out. So it's a very, very approachable if you know what you're looking for. So for Ed, for example, like if I was trying to do this for you, you'd be the same thing. You wouldn't be wanting to know, the all the attachments, or maybe you want to know the raw snippet. You're like, why would I care about a raw snippet? You know what I mean? You just want the body plane, the from name, and maybe you want the subject as well. So keep those things in mind when you're looking to build these out. And yeah, from there, as we scroll down, there's nothing else that has any sort of uh, little star next to it. So we don't need to worry about anything else here. We can simply click continue, and then it's done. It's done deal, and you can just click publish, and now you have your unused app. So wanted to walk through that for you guys. It's fairly straightforward. Chad, how you guys doing over there? That make pretty all right sense for you?
Yeah, yeah. We're just checking this out there. Boy, there's a lot you can input there. Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty
Yeah.
interesting. It's exciting.
It's honestly, as complex as you can be creative. So
Yes,
we've done,
exactly.
yeah, we've done some pretty extravagant little automations for a Zapier exclusive workshop that we've hosted. It was a basically a message draft, edit and send through Slack, just because
Pretty
we
funny.
could, just for the sake of
Exactly.
argument.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Ed, I know you said it was, you're kind of on that, you're kind of walking that line of like making sense to not making sense. After walking through that second section, does it make more sense, make less sense where you at right now?
No, it makes sense. It's just a lot of information.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why I wanted to send you guys that YouTube video because at any point, if you guys want to walk back through this, you have that available to you. And also, let me do this right now, just so you guys have it. I'm gonna send in my like my personal email,
Hmm.
and I want you guys to at any point, if you have any sort of questions, please let me know. Just email me and say, hey, it's Ed. I mean, here's my questions that I have. Could I use AI for this or anything like that? Would love to be able to help you guys out at any point for anything like this. Ben
Hmm.
is also available as well. But we can just we'll just
Yeah.
have one email. What
And
about you, Megan? Did you have anything that was confusing you? I know you said like you've done this before, so it's a little bit it makes pretty good sense to you. But
Done some basic automations. A lot of this is just over my head.
oh, I
mhm.
get it. Yeah. So that's all right, Megan. The nice thing is that you already have a pretty all right experience with it. I know this is a little bit more complicated because it's more specific to this tool or that tool. So like I said, we have that video to help you make more sense of this. And if you have any questions at any point, that's what we're going to be, utilizing this for. Another great thing that I want to recommend to you guys, use ChatGPT to make sense of this because it will help you. Like if you wanted to, you can even do it this way. You can screenshot something and say, "Hey, this doesn't make sense to me. What do I do here?" And then it can go and do it for you. And then Ben's pulling up the Copilot suggestions. The Copilot can help you walk through these things as well. So you have
Hmm.
the solutions here on here. Yep, it's in the little corner, but
Yeah, I thought it was. They must
you
have
can't
moved it. I
really see
think
it.
it
It's like
says right
behind the
here.
thing. You got it. But
Yeah,
anyway,
they
so
bumped
you
it over to
have
the right.
ChatGPT is a great opportunity, and you have this one second. Let me take over for a second.
Yep.
It's over in this bottom right corner.
Oh,
If
I
you
was
can
right.
see.
Okay. That
Yeah,
looked
you
like
got it.
a new create a
Yeah.
Zap button. Whoops.
So I just wanted you guys to keep in mind that there's resources out there for you guys because I know you're all kind of at this point of like, all right, dipping my toes in this type of stuff. Just want you guys to recognize there's Copilot right in here, right within Zapier. That's awesome. You have ChatGPT, you have Hank and Ben whenever you need us, and you have just the internet in general. So, uh, with that, we have. Are you guys all right with spending a couple extra minutes, or are you guys a little bit of a hard deadline? What are we feeling?
We're good with spending a couple extra minutes. We were trying to find that YouTube video in the chat that you
Mm-hmm.
had posted.
Yeah,
For some reason, it's not showing up for us, but
that's all right. Do you want to? Oh, there you go. He's
Yeah, can
trying
you
to.
see it if I drop it in?
Let's see.
yeah, there it is.
There it is.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
Thank
awesome. Ed, are you
you.
good to stay for a couple extra minutes?
Actually, I got another call,
Okay.
That's no worries. That's no
and
worries.
then yeah,
If
so
It'll be recorded
yeah,
either way, Ed. So if what I'd recommend is coming in or coming back and just skipping to the end and watching the last couple minutes, we're gonna be setting up our 90-day plans and we do have a quick little link. Actually, Ed, if you could just real
yeah,
quick
I was
just
just about to drop that in the chat. This is just
yeah.
an evaluation link because Ed and Rachel, I believe you guys are the only ones who have been through all of our sessions. So it's just an evaluation form. This is on behalf of Sheila. And also if you would like to get in touch with Sheila if you are looking for a more long-term maybe partnership between me and Hank, that's preferred method. But here's the launch Lenawee class
Awesome.
evaluation.
Thank you, man.
Feel free to open
I
that
look
in
forward.
another tab, Ed, and get to it when you can. If you got hop, you got hop. All good.
Yep.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have a good one, Ed.
You
Megan, are you good
too.
for a couple more minutes just because I know you're good? Okay, perfect. So what we're gonna do, guys, is I want you guys to head back into ChatGPT for me. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of yapping to ChatGPT. We're going to figure out um, our 30, our 60, and our 90-day plans with AI. I'm using it more. So this is going to be a fun little session for you guys, you two. I know you're already using AI a ton, so that's a great start. You guys are at a great spot. And I think that we can up it a little more, especially because you haven't done much automation. So this is a new thing for you guys.
Yeah.
Megan, you've done a little bit of automations, but you haven't messed with ChatGPT much. So we're both on the different ends of this. This is perfect. Um, what we're going to be doing. Do you guys both have access? So, um, have you both either of you tried? Well, I know Megan, you haven't, but have you guys tried the voice to text feature on there yet? Like they click the little microphone
I
button
have
and
a
then just start
little
talking
bit.
to it. Have a little bit? Okay. So what I want
Mhm.
you guys to do right now, just to play with this a little bit, is you're gonna mute yourselves and what I want you guys to do is I want you to talk to ChatGPT and just give it everything. Let it know exactly where you guys at with what you're looking to do with your business, how you're looking to grow your business, alongside also talking about what your experience is with AI. You know, for Megan, you're saying, hey, I've never touched ChatGPT to any extent or any other AI tool. I have used, AI image generation and I've done automations. With you guys, it's more so I've used ChatGPT a ton. I have a pro plan, things of that nature, but I haven't really touched automations and I'm looking to start my business. So I want you guys to just basically spread everything out, let it know everything about your business, things of that nature, where your experiences with the tools. And then from there, click submit, let it generate. And what I want you to do at the end is just ask for a 30, a 60, and a 90-day plan. So this is going to help it give you some ideas for where you should be with your AI use over the next 30 to 60 to 90 days and give you guys some, goalposts to kick towards. So, like I said, pretty simple, pretty easy to approach. But it's going to give you guys a little bit of like a landing zone of like, all right, well, where do I want to be in 3 months from now when using these tools? Does that make sense? You guys, it makes sense to you
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All righty. Well then let's you guys can mute yourselves and then go ahead and get on to it. And we'll be right here if you guys have any questions.
Okay.
Absolutely. Hank, while they're busy, do you want to work on our harmonies?
Uh, oh, okay. Megan, do you know how to? Oh yeah, I think she's doing it now. Perfect. Okay.
Quite a lot of stuff you can do using Shopify via Zapier. Very cool.
Let's Chad and them talk.
Mhm. And if anyone is watching this recording, feel free to also perform this activity. Once you guys have gotten at least a good idea for the 30, 60, and 90 days, feel free to run any of those ideas by us and we'll let you know if there's any adjustments we would make.
Yeah, that was just amazing. Just what she told it, and just came up with a large amount of stuff.
Hmm.
It's incredible. You want to read off some?
You can.
Okay. Let me see here. Let me scroll down here. So it says for first 30 days is the foundation and online presence. The goal is establish brand identity, online presence, and early community interest. And it touches on business setup, brand marketing, market research, operations prep. Um, Come on. And then in 60 days, it talks about the goal being build local buzz and test engagement through events.
Hmm.
Events and community, host first small events, board game night, trading card tournament, inflatable day, partner with local coffee shops, breweries, or parks to host games and events.
That
Then
could be
there's
fun.
marketing push as well as operations.
Mhm.
Um, and then at 90 days, expand offerings, test revenue streams, and plan for a storefront. Talks about event expansion, financials, community building, brick and mortar prep. So yeah, it definitely gives out
That's
a
pretty solid. And I think,
complete.
what I'd recommend to you guys is from there is I would just ask it simply saying, hey, this is great, but how can I utilize AI or ChatGPT every step of the way to make these things achievable and how can you make my life easier in approaching and doing these things? I think that could be a great idea for you guys as well.
Right.
Definitely.
And you can even ask it as well, saying, hey, all right, cool. How can I expand, this is another part of how can I expand my AI use to these areas and beyond over the next 90 days? And you can start to set some goals there of like, all right, we're going to be, here's what we want to achieve within our business, and here's how AI is going to help us get there. I'll let you guys cook. I know she's an
Sure.
expert over there, so I don't got to worry about that.
I'm
What
learning from
about
her.
yourself, Megan? Is things going all right over there? I think it's just trying.
Yeah. No, I put in some well, I kind of asked Chat GPT how to improve online sales. It gave out some it asked for more specific information and it gave me some really good information. So now I'm trying to print it.
I like it. Megan, for you, just so you, just kind of continuing on that, I think it'd be good to learn a little bit about especially going back to the first session, like making sure that you're double checking sources, things of that nature. That the
Hmm.
tools are awesome, but sometimes they can come up with some things called hallucinations. It rarely ever happens anymore, but it's still just you want to make sure to keep those things in mind. With that being said, though, from here, what I'd recommend is ask it, all right, can you give me like you can just say this, talk to it and say, hey, can you give me a 30, a 60, and a 90-day plan for how I can start using AI more and more in my daily life. I think right now for you, you're at a spot where you're just starting to play with ChatGPT. So if I were to be building out that 30, 60 to 90-day plan, it would be a lot around, hey, let's play with this, maybe it's once a day or a couple times a week and just really starting to see what it's capable of. Because you're already seeing what it's capable of, but now we're kind of opening up that Pandora's box and really getting to see the fun of it. So
Yeah, and honestly, if you wanted to get creative or at least fun with it, you could even start coming up, ask it to try and come up with some unique. I know you guys are going for hot sauce. Maybe you ask for a unique idea behind a hot sauce recipe, and then maybe work through there. Or
could
maybe
be.
you could even take a photo of certain items you want to use for a hot sauce, and then maybe it suggests little
Yeah,
tips and
there's
tricks there.
the sky
Hey,
genuinely is the limit. Megan, I'm excited for you that you're like just getting into this now. Especially like Ben mentioned, like, yeah, it could be that you could take a picture of a blank hot sauce that you have and say, here's some of the, here's what we kind of have an idea for a name for it. we need an image for this. And then it could even just put the image right on the tool, right on the bottle for you. So
Hmm.
ChatGPT itself is very powerful. There's a lot of really cool ideas there. So I'm excited for you that you're just in the space, and I'm excited for you two over there, Chad, because you guys are already using the tools a ton and
Yeah.
you're starting your own business. And I mean, that's just so you guys know, like we started our business using AI. That was such a huge help. It was monumentous. We would not be where we're at today without it. So I'm just really excited
Right.
to get in that space.
Well, I'm just looking at all this right now, which she's added some more on here, and just I could have never thought or dreamed up of any of this of what it just told us.
Yeah,
And I mean, there's just so much there. It just breaks it down, and we can just do a checklist one by one and really thoroughly cover things. So, because I know there would be a
exactly.
lot of things we would miss.
Exactly. No, it's things that you would just like. You're like, oh, I never would have thought of that. Oh, I would have never thought of doing, some practice game night sessions and getting some more people there
Right.
at the community center, for example. Just things like that. It's like you wouldn't have thought of, and now you're able to do that. And like same thing for like Megan. Maybe I know you guys are big. You're starting to grow that online presence, but maybe you're not the greatest when it comes to SEO, and you're just learning that. So that's where something that where AI can teach you about SEO and then help you start to apply some of that to your own business. So there's a
Hmm.
ton of opportunities for where it helps you take off the hat of multiple hats. It makes your
Yeah,
life
especially
just tons easier.
especially when it comes to marketing. Marketing, you really have to have either an eye
Yeah.
for it or a mind for it.
Mhm.
It's great for that.
Yeah, Megan, I
And
know I told you we'll wrap things up here in a second. Megan, I know I told the story to everybody else, but I had or my mom was starting her own assisted living facility or assisted living residence, this last February, and she
Mhm.
loves working with people. She's been a nurse for 20 something years, but she has never marketed herself. She's never done sales or anything like that. And I taught her how to use AI, so she was able to learn how should she be approaching hospitals? How should she be doing this? How should she be doing that? It was her, crutch to lean on to make her life easier. And I could
Yeah.
very much so see it becoming that for you guys as well, just making life easier.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. With that being said, I appreciate you guys for sticking around for a little bit longer. If you can, please just grab that little link that we sent the Survey Planet. It helps out a ton. We really appreciate it. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, please, you got my email on there. You have access to Sheila. She can forward you to us as well. So we appreciate you guys coming today. It's been a fun session. I hope you guys learned a
Yeah.
ton. I'm
Thank you.
excited
We
to see you
did.
guys continue to grow.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah,
Yes, thank
thank you.
you
And if
so
you
much.
can, please fill out that form that I've dropped in the chat. Thank you
Sure.
guys
Yeah,
again.
for
Yep,
sure.
absolutely.